Mira Murati, welcome to The Daily Show.
Thank you for having me.
So many people have seen the images that DALL creates. Many people may even think they understand it, but let's get into it. Like, how does an AI create an image? Because it's not copying the image. It's not, taking from something else. It is creating an image from nothing. How is it doing this?
Exactly. It's an original image, never seen before. And, we have been making images since the beginning of time, and we simply took a great deal of these images and we fed them into this AI system. And it learned this relationship between the description of the image and the image itself.
Right.
It learned these patterns, and eventually it was generating images that were original. They were not copies of what it had seen before.
Right.
And basically, the way that it learns, the magic is just understanding the patterns and analyzing the patterns between a lot of information, a lot of training data that we have fed into the system.
There are people who are terrified about this. I mean, for instance, there was an art competition, and the winner in the art competition used a version of this kind of software, whether it was DALL or not, I don't remember, but they used a version of this kind of software to create an art piece that won the competition. Artists were livid, they were like, well, this is not art, it was created by, and the artist said, no, the same way you use a brush, I use a computer, and that's how I design this.
Right.
In creating AI, are you constantly grappling with how it will affect people's jobs and what people even consider a job?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's, the technology that we're building has such a huge effect on society, but also the society can and should shape it. And there are a ton of questions that we're wrestling with every day. With the technologies that we have today, like GPT-3 and DALL, we see them as tools, so an extension of our creativity or our writing abilities. It's a tool. And, there isn't anything particularly new about having a human helper.
Right.
Even the ancient Greeks had this concept of human helpers, that when you'd give something, infinite powers of knowledge or strength or so on, maybe you had to be wary of the vulnerabilities. And so these concepts of extending the human abilities and also being aware of the vulnerabilities are timeless. And in a sense, we are continuing this conversation by building AI technologies today.
Well, it might be frightening because some people go, oh, the world is going to end because of this technology. Yeah. But in the meantime, it's very fun. I'm not going to lie. No, because DALL, for instance, doesn't just create an image from text. You've also gotten it to the point now where, as a company, you've designed it so that it can imagine what an image would be. So, for instance, there's that famous image. It's the girl with the pearl earring,
right?
And it's a famous image, right? But what DALL can do is you've got the famous image, and then DALL can expand that. Everything you're seeing there never existed. So DALL's like, well, this is what I think it would look like if there was more to this image. It can assume, it can create, it can inspire.
Yes, it can inspire, and it makes these beautiful, sometimes touching, sometimes funny images, and it's really just an extension of your imagination. There isn't even a canvas, or the boundaries of paper are not there anymore.
So how do you safeguard then? Someone might look at this technology and go, well, then, you could type in a politician was caught doing something here. Now I've got the image. You've got, and now, or the politician can say, oh, that's not me. It was made by that fake program. We can very quickly find ourselves in a world where nothing is real and everything that's real isn't, and we question it. How do you prevent, or can you even prevent that completely?
Yeah, misinformation and societal impact of our technologies, these are very important and difficult questions. And I think it's very important to be able to bring the public along, bring these technologies in the public consciousness, but in a way that's responsible and safe. And that's why we have chosen to make DALL available, but with certain guardrails and with certain constraints, because we do want people to understand what AI is capable of, and we want people in various fields to think about what it means. But right now, we don't feel very comfortable around the mitigations on misinformation, and so we do have some guardrails. For example, we do not allow generation of public figures, so we will go in the data set and we will eliminate certain data.
So if you type something in, you can't pull up, it can't create a politician for you. It won't be a picture of that person. Huh.
So that's the first step at the training of the model itself, just looking at the data and auditing it, making interventions in the data set to avoid certain outcomes. And then later in the deployment stage, we will look at filters, applying filters, so that when you put in a prompt, it won't generate things that contain violence or hate, and make it more in line with our content policy.
Wow. So let me ask you this then. Obviously part of your team has to think about the ethical ramifications of the technology that you're creating. Do your team also then think about the greater meaning of work or life or the purpose that humans have? Because, most of us define ourselves by what we do, i.e. our jobs. As AI slowly takes away what people's jobs are, we'll find a growing class of people who don't have that same purpose anymore. Do you then also have to think about that and wonder, what does it mean to be human if it's not my job? And can you tell me what that is?
We have philosophers and ethicists at OpenAI, but I really think these are big societal questions that shouldn't even be in the hands of technologists alone. We're certainly thinking about them, and the tools that we see today, they're not the tools that are automating certain aspects of our jobs. They're really tools extending our capabilities, our inherent abilities, and making them far better. But it could be that in the far future, we have these systems that can automate a lot of different jobs. I do think that, as with other revolutions that we've gone through, there will be new jobs, and some jobs will be lost, some jobs will be new, and there will be some retraining required as well. But I'm optimistic. It's
interesting. It's scary because change always is. But as long as we have, bless you, as long as we have koalas riding bicycles, I think we're headed in the right direction. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. I appreciate you.